Hi and welcome to MOREMIND Minis. My name is Oakley. I'm a holistic wellbeing coach and a yoga teacher. I also co-run the MOREMIND project here at More Yoga with Dr. Stephanie Minchin, and today I'll be taking you through a guided exercise around letting go. Really important focus for all of us at the moment, with things feeling a little bit uncertain. It can be a really powerful practice of self-care to identify and start working through the things that we need to let go of that no longer serve us. So what you'll need for this practice is just something to write with, something to write on, and ideally somewhere private that you can practice quietly. So when you're ready, just finding a comfortable seat, closing the eyes, bowing the head. And we'll begin by just taking a few deep breaths into the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing into the nose, out through the mouth. Taking one more deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just taking a moment to become present wherever you are, whatever might be going on around you. Just mentally giving yourself permission to become present in this practice, to give yourself some space and time for more self-care, more growth. More space. Just clearing the mind of any distractions, any busy thoughts. And when you're ready, let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And when you're ready, blinking the eyes, just gently open. So today we'll be working through 3 stages of our practice, 3 exercises, all centered around this theme of letting go. So what I would like you to do first is take your pen and paper or your notebook, and we're going to reflect firstly on identifying something that you feel you need to let go of. And that will be completely different for each and every one of us as individuals, of course. Remembering with any of these practices, any of these reflective exercises, it's really important to remember that no one is going to be reading what you write unless you invite them to. So this is a private exercise, so I just really want to remind everyone of that. So don't feel that you can't write things down, you can't express things for the worry that someone else might read it, remembering that this is a private, personal exercise. So firstly, we'll be reflecting and identifying on something you'd like to let go of. And what I want you to do when you write this down is to give it a clear name. And it could be a person, it could be a relationship, perhaps even an expectation of the future. It doesn't always have to be looking back that we're letting go of. It might be something that we were planning for the future. I was actually in the middle of backpacking when COVID-19 happened. My partner had saved for a long time to go on a 3-month trip, and I've had to do some work around letting go of actually the future plans that we had worked towards, letting go of those things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the past, it could be something in the future. It may be a person, perhaps a trauma, even grief. Perhaps a relationship with yourself, a negative body image. So whatever it is for you, in this first reflection, I'd like you to maybe close the eyes, if that feels comfortable, and to bring to mind your focus, what it is you'd like to let go of. And giving this focus a clear name, clear name. So really identifying what it is, who it is. We'll spend a few moments here. So just identifying what it is you'd like to focus on today. And if there's more than one thing that comes to mind, just writing those down as a list. It's completely fine. If lots of things come to mind, you can repeat this exercise as many times as you need to. But let's identify that kind of main focus for now, for this practice. So once you've done that, remembering you can always pause this video and then return whenever you're ready. Let's just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Beautiful. And we'll move on to our second exercise. So we're going to look now at the where, the when, the where. We're not going to look at the when, the why, and the how. Not the where, although that might come into it as well. So the when, the why, and the how. So we're going to break this into 3 sections. And I'd like you to start by looking at the when. How long have you been holding on to this person, this thing, this experience, these plans, whatever it is for you, whatever your focus was, whichever thing you have identified, writing down now and reflecting on when. When did this focus come into being, come into your life? If it was a relationship, when did it start? If it was a job, when did it begin? So looking firstly at the when. The reason we start by looking at this kind of time and identifying what this thing is because often we can say, oh, I really want to let go of stress, but we're not identifying where that stress is stemming from. So by identifying and giving that stress a name, for example, I want to let go of my current job because it's causing me a lot of stress, it's causing me a lot of anxiety, I'm not happy, I don't feel aligned. When? By looking at the when, we begin to then understand and get a clearer picture of why we need to let go. And also, by putting things into perspective, it can make us realize that a lot of the time, these things are bigger than we might give ourselves credit for. We think, oh, I really haven't worked past that yet. Well, if you've been on a career path for 10 years, of course it's something that needs to be given some energy. We need to really put our time and effort into understanding why we need to let that go. So finishing up this first question of our second section, looking at when this focus came into your life, came into being for you. And when you're ready, we'll move on to our second reflection. Why? Why do you need to let go of this thing? Why is this no longer serving you? Why is it important? Why is it important to let this go? So we'll spend a few moments here just reflecting on why you need to let this go. And do try to really reflect on the different reasons, rather than kind of skimming the top. See if you can just delve a little bit deeper with this focus. Why do you need to let this go? Why is this no longer serving you, and why is it important to you to let it go? Spend a few more moments remembering, pause at any point if you need a little bit longer on any of these reflections, giving yourself just as much time as you need, no rush whatsoever. When you're ready, we'll come on to our final reflection of this second part of our exercise today. How? How will it feel to let this go? How will letting go of this thing change things? How will it impact your life? So reflecting now on the how. How it would feel. How it would feel to let this thing, this person, this relationship with yourself, whatever it is, these plans, these expectations even of an outcome. How would it feel to let that go? How would it impact your well-being? How would it change things? Spending just a few more moments on this final reflection. How would it feel to let this go? How will it change things? How would it impact your life? How would it impact your well-being to let this go? Finishing up on that final reflection, or pausing if you need a little bit more time. And we are going to come onto our final practice of today, and this is going to be a little bit longer than the last few reflections. What I want you to do now is write a letter to the focus, to whatever it is you're wanting to let go. And I want you to write your history. So write a letter, write to this focus, dear person, dear self, dear whatever it is, dear plans, and write out a letter, putting down as much as you can. If this is something from the past, go back to the beginning, go back to the start of this journey. So looking at that when did this thing occur? When did it come into your life? This thing that you'd like to let go of. Looking back at the when, and start to write the story. Start to really put down in words where this relationship began, whatever it is. If it's a person, if it's with yourself, if it's a plan, whichever it is for you. Write it down, and you can take as much time as you need on this. I did this practice on myself, and I wrote quite a few pages in the end, and it's such a powerful practice to do. I can't actually stress enough how helpful I find this exercise when there's something I need to let go of, and something I really need to get to the source of, to really understand, to really break down. So while you're writing your letter, I want you to go back to the start, write out the story. If this brings up emotions, allow them to come up. Remember, this is a self-practice for your own self-care. If it's too much, then, you know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. But if it's okay, if you feel safe to kind of explore those emotions, then do allow yourself to delve in. And then at the end of this letter, I'd like you to state that you are letting it go. So to give you an example, I did this practice because a few weeks ago I had a dream about somebody from the past, and I thought to myself, wow, that's still there, it's still somewhere within me, somewhere in my subconscious, that person is still kind of around. I obviously haven't done all the work I need to process and let go of, you know, this person, this relationship. And I did this practice on myself. And while I was writing this letter, while I was kind of going back to the start, I realized, wow, this goes back to when I was 16. I'm 33 now. Most of my adult life, half of my time on this planet, I haven't let go of this person. And I realized mostly that the thing I needed to do to let go was to realize that it was a fantasy. It wasn't the relationship that I wasn't letting go of. It was actually the thing I'd made up in my head, the outcome, my expectations that I needed to let go of. And I needed to forgive. I needed to forgive this person. I needed to forgive myself. And I needed to let it go. And only through writing this letter did I realize, wow, no wonder I'm still carrying this around. It's been a long time. It's when I got to the when. And when I reflected on the why do I need to let this go, it's because I was still carrying around the fantasy of a 16-year-old girl. And that's a really hard thing to live up to. And it was hard, it was difficult, you know, things came up, emotions came up, but in order to work past those things and let go of the things that no longer serve us, that's the only way that we can really start to look after ourselves and, you know, move past the painful things so that we can progress onto all the amazing things that are in the future for us. Okay, so when you're ready, start to just write freely, write from the heart. You can write to yourself, you can write to your focus. Start just looking back on that when. Start reflecting on the why. And at the end of the letter, stating that you are letting it go. So really putting that down physically in writing, putting it out there, making that statement. I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes here with this, but this can take, you know, as long as you need to. This is a really personal expression, so take your time with this practice. And as you write, try to connect with any emotions that do come up. Journaling can be such a powerful tool to help us really connect with why we're feeling certain ways. And why maybe looking back or even connecting to future plans that haven't occurred. Why it can make us feel a certain way. So really allowing yourself to go there as you write, to really own those emotions so that you can begin to move past and move on from these things healthily. How we can begin to let go of no longer serve us. If you need a little bit more time here, do feel free to pause, or you can come back to your letter. When you're ready, just coming back to your seat, closing the eyes, bowing the head. Bringing awareness back to the breath. I'm going to take a few deep cleansing breaths in. Breathing in, filling the belly. Exhale, let go. Breathing in, filling the belly. Exhaling, letting go. Breathing in. Exhale, letting go. Inhaling. Exhaling. Taking one last full deep breath in and a long deep breath out. Starting to slow the breath. Just clearing the mind of any busy thoughts. Bringing the hands to rest over the heart space. Bringing your awareness into this space, and let's come back to our reflection of how. How will it feel to let this thing go? How will it impact your life? How will it change things? Emotionally, mentally, physically. And what I'd like you to do is begin to visualize. Begin to visualize how. How will things change once you've let go? How will your life look different? How will you feel? How will it feel to let go? Keeping your awareness in your heart space. Just letting go of that visualization now. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I'd like to close our practice today with a reading from MINIS from Walk the Earth. Sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world to do, to move on, to leave behind something that's not meant for you, to walk away from something you never imagined you'd have to walk away from. But sometimes it's the very thing that will set you free. It's the very thing that will allow you to start healing and finding your light again. It may take every single ounce of your courage, strength, and bravery to move on and to walk away. It can bring you days or even weeks of tears. It can hurt like hell. But when something is no longer meant for you, beautiful friend, you must move on. You must let go. You must not keep carrying the unnecessary weight and the heavy burdens. You must not continue to hurt yourself for people and places simply not right for you. You don't have to have a clue for what's coming next either, because when you move on from what's not right for you, you make the space for what is meant for you. And that makes all the difference in the world. So with those powerful, inspiring words in mind, let's just take this last moment of quiet reflection to keep our awareness at the center of the heart. Just set an intention around letting go. Just knowing you are so strong, so brave, and so loved. When you're ready, take a deep full breath into the nose, open the mouth and let go. Slowly start to blink the eyes open. Namaste.